And welcome back to the channel, and we're going to do our first couple of World Cup design playthroughs. Now these ones, the first ones that have been released, are both alternates, so they may end up making the main field, they may not, but we're going to give them a playthrough because there's not much else out there at the moment, and if I keep on top of them then great. I can't necessarily guarantee that I'm going to play through every single alternate course, but we'll see how we go. And I'm just going to check whether we've got chat going on stream because it seems to be messing around with things. Let's go with that, and then hopefully it pops up. Right. With this one, we're going to go with. We've got loads of tees. We're going to go with medium winds, I think. And let's play from the east. Everything else at default. We're going to play off the back tees, whatever those end up being. Let's go pin 2. And gold tees, so 7,600 seems about right. And we're going to go with this. Okay, leap into. Now, MJ Hamilton's a name that I know, but is also someone who I don't think released a ton in 23. I might be wrong. But yeah, apologies if you've got the black box sitting there. That will be chat as and when people pop in, hopefully, if I've set it up right. Because in the past people have said they can't see what others are saying on the stream and they'd rather have an idea. So let's have a little look around. Now we've got an open-ish style course. Lots of, oh yeah, bluffs, as the name would kind of suggest. Tree lined around it. And we've got one little water lane in there. We've got these big cliffs, which look pretty well done. I think up until you get to these little spikes, I would be smoothing out a little more. I think where it looks more kind of straight down, I think those look really good. Sometimes you can just smooth out some of those bluffs, but honestly, that looks pretty good at a distance. Then you've got the main course. I'm not totally sold on the topsoil choice, but we'll see how that works. Yeah, and then I think this is where the grasses are autogenning, so I presume that's what's causing that. Flying around, you can kind of see what you see is what you get, really. We've got some fairways that just go through this land. It's kind of flat-ish rather than bumpy or links land. I do like the low trees. This is kind of similar to how I would have done Shell Bay with those kind of more stumpy trees. I think that's a good look in amongst these these fescue grasses. Then we've got some terrain painting and the bunkers as well. I think I'll say a little bit more about that when we get there. But yeah, looks like an interesting first course. Lots of space, which is always good. Now for these playthroughs, I toyed with whether I'd go with the 65 overall golfer or not, and instead I've decided to go with my overall 99 build player, but play on legend difficulty. Where is our clubhouse? It's worth having a little look at that as well. So out kind of near the bluffs, little patio area. Guess this is practice area. Yeah, there's no pin on that green. Cool. Okay. And then that presumably is our 18th. Interesting. Right, let's go down to the first. So straight away I'd say that the grasses are very, very close to your playable surfaces and they're quite big. I would probably make those a little smaller. And I'd be dropping this just a little. It feels very, I guess, in your face, for lack of a better word. And I quite like the environment you've created. Just maybe don't chuck it straight out my face here. I've just realised the box is going to go straight over our swing meter, so I might move that around just a touch. If I move that over to this side, let's save that over there. There we go. Probably a little bit better. It's better for design, that side. I also don't think you need to have this drop back. This kind of raised mound is blocking a lot of the fairway and just doesn't really show all the fairway that is there. It's a really wide fairway that then chokes down kind of where we, I guess, can't really reach it. I think the other thing I would say is I'm not sure the bunker scaling matches the fairway width. You've got a huge wide fairway and then that's just a tiny portion. Yeah. Otherwise, lots of good to like, and it's nice to have a generous first landing zone at least. Pop our way down here. I think left was the side to go. Green seems quite big, but I think that's also me just still adapting to the greenskeeper archetype. Not. I kind of like the simpler bunker shapes better. I feel like these fit much more than the ones with the fingers on this side. Just, I don't think this is the style of course where you need those types of bunkers. They would tend to be more simplistic, I feel. At least I feel that's how it would fit a bit better. Right. I hit a. Oh, that's a good shot. Might need to sit just a little. Yeah, just rolled through. Not too bad though. We can putt that. Just coming out of the rough and give it a little bit more. Oh, too much. Shouldn't have given it a bit more. It's quite downhill from where I was. Still, that's fairly stress-free par on the first hole, which I'll take. Nice weathering of the grasses. Little pan looks good. Okay. I'm not going to be judging on cameras, but I didn't see one there, which makes me wonder whether we'll keep an eye as to whether we put them in there. I think if it's a contest course and you haven't done the cameras, I just don't really see why you wouldn't. Terrain painting to the fairway is very, very stark here. I think you would want to blend it better. Like where you've done it around here, the fuzzier edges looks really good. Just this doesn't really work so well. Interesting hole design. Yeah, and doing this blend is really tough. You'd kind of want to hide that with grasses, I think, would be the neatest way of doing it. Now, we are not going to be able to reach that side of the fairway. I think if you were going to split this fairway, I'd want a really generous layup way back here, because if you're letting people lay up to 200 yards away, just let them have all the fairway in the world. Whereas this feels almost as challenging. Like, I can't take 2-iron, I'm going to run through. 4-iron, if I play that way, I can't play that. I definitely can't take 3-wood, and I can't hit driver. I don't really have a lot of good options here. I'm going to have to hit what I hope is a good 4-iron, and even then, that's far side of the fairway. There just wasn't much room for error there. And then if you look at the green, hitting 190 yards into this tiny front corner, let alone a pin back here, which would be tucked over some bunkers, I think we can just be a bit more forgiving. Yeah, maintain. I'd be interested to see if you bring the more simple shapes back, because I kind of like just simple pan bunkers here and here. This protrusion isn't really doing anything for me. Right, we're now going to try and land it short. I do like the grasses and the small trees you've got around here, though. Those look nice. I realise I should have prefaced, for those of you who are new to the channel, what these playthroughs are. So, World Cup of Design is our premier design contest. It's like the most important one. And a lot of designers get into that. Well, it's invitation, so it's best of the best. And then additionally, it's also open to all comers via you just release a course and let me know it's there, and I'll judge it as an alternate. Now, the reason people enter these competitions is A, to try to win and test yourself against everyone else, which gives you a decent measuring stick. Additionally, gets eyes on your course, which is a nice thing as well, particularly when you're starting out or trying to look to take that next step. But crucially, it's also really good for getting that in-depth critical feedback that you just don't get anywhere else. So therefore, for these playthroughs, yes, I'm trying to promote the course and show it off and like highlight the good things, but I'm also trying to give really critical feedback that I wouldn't on a casual playthrough, just to help people get better and see the things that I see or others would see. Okay, so this one we're looking at 245 yards. I think I like the concept of grass on this bunker. It just maybe looks a touch heavy-handed. Same with the grass just in front of the tee. I think we can probably lower that as with on the first tee. You're then giving me all this fairway, but it's a par 3 and I can't use any of it. I can run it into the front right of this green, but this one I've got to fly it all the way. And if it's this pin, then it's rolling, everything's funneling to this bit. So really we're asking someone to land it on a downslope and somehow stop it near this pin. I don't really see how you get this there other than by luck, if I'm honest. We'll give it a go because, yeah, I mean, maybe the 2-iron clears it. Yeah, I'm just going to bail out. I think if you were doing this, the big hazard in front of the green, like make it diagonal, make it smaller. You don't want to take away, like, long par threes are fun for the ability to run the ball onto the green and bounce it on. They're not much fun when you take that all away. Okay, so now we've got a long putt with it moving all sorts of different directions. It is a big green at least, so you would hit it in two most of the time. Who knows where this one ends up? Hopefully somewhere close. Oh, it goes in. What a putt. I mean, yeah, completely by fluke. But hey, that's how you play this hole, clearly. Through three. All of my points about the difficulty of that hole probably still stand, though. Just because you make one putt doesn't really change it. Again, I would say scaling of bunkers would be an issue for me. If you're going really big with all of your surfaces and you've got this big natural area, I wouldn't. Like, it stands out to me that that bunker is tiny in comparison. I like that we're going for more of a dog leg. I'd probably move your fairway a bit closer to this bunker so that I'm really challenging the bunker in order to get close. Now that I see the topsoil up close, I actually think it works quite well for blending in these bunkers. We're just going to play up to the top of the hill because I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe guys with longer drivers can reach that bit more. I kind of felt like I'm a bit forced out here. And then I don't really, because I haven't quite reached the crest of the hill, this sight line's a little awkward. So I'd probably be looking at dropping some of the land just in front of me down so I see that view that you want me to see rather than this view, which you don't. Additionally, yeah, the same thing with the transition to these sandy waste areas. I like that we've gone with more the pan. Let's see, these pan style bunkers. I think the shapes work much better. We'll probably be dropping it down a little bit more, but works better. This guy kind of seemed just a little lost out in an ocean of. This transition isn't working as well as it could do. So par 5, we can lay up if we want to. In everything seems like everywhere is breaking away from it, which isn't. No, it's not my preferred way of doing difficulty. Hey, Saucy. Ah, good. Your message has showed up, so the chat thing is working. I know. We are. I'm excited to be back with World Cup playthroughs, and I know that these guys are published a little while ago, so it made sense to do something. If you are going to go with this sand, I would also, as a second texture and it's acting as kind of a bunker, I would be sculpting it down so that it just looks very flat here. I think you can make it a bit more three-dimensional and it will affect it really nicely. Do you like the blends of grasses you've got up here? Let's get there. I was trying to do a pitch shot, that's why. Yeah. I like the corner of the property you've stuck this one into as well. Works well. Hey, Tanner. Should have done painted sand for those. I don't know. I think I would have changed the colour of the sand, but I think there's room to do both types of bunker. As Shelby would have showed. I think those can work. Hey, Manahan. Oh, I've given that way too much. Yeah, like I said, I don't love the pin because it feels like there's no real way to get close, and we're just protecting it by running everything off there, there, or like you leave it just above. I'd want a little bit of flat space around it. Heavy rough chip, maybe just to there. I know playthrough seasons are great. I'm super excited about this contest as well because it's the first time in ages that we're going to have a load of really new courses. Might make our little box a bit smaller if I can. max. Let's go 200. No, 300. There we go. There. Move it down to there. Save. Right. Sorry, I'm using this as a bit of a trial for fiddling around with that chat box. I wish I could get it so that it wasn't dark, but I think it just deletes all the messages within it if I do that. I'm going to try once more. Yeah, because it just decides to delete everything within it. We go to white chat, go custom. Let's go custom. That should work. He says. One of you types a message in, that'd be great. We then have the water, which feels like it's right at the level. I would probably lower it just a touch. Yay, it does show. Excellent. Thanks, Malahan. Yeah, then we have the blowout, which is cool again, just sculpt down. And I do like the textures you've chosen. I think these work together really nicely. Just it needs a bit more definition for me. I'm staying well clear of the water. It does work. I think you've thought about where the weathering is. It's on some of the mounds and parts of the green, as you can see from zoom away a little. Yeah, you can see where it's highlighting some of the green breaks a bit. So on this green, it looks a little odd because it's just of where those breaks are. Yeah, I can mess around with that later, I think. Probably not going to do that now, unless I can. How quickly can we edit this? Text settings. Oh, I can, actually. Secondary text shadow on. There you go. No, I can do it, Pat, don't worry. I can add a shadow. I'll keep messing with it throughout this. We can use this as very much a guinea pig round for text settings. I like the green site at the base of a couple of hills, and just that there's not much around it is quite nice as well. Like quiet is good as well. For those of you watching and joining on late, I've decided with this one or this series of contests. Hey Finley, what I'm going to do is play all of the courses with my guy, but on legend, because I feel that then means that you can design to a decent distance for playthroughs or what have you, but it will still mean that your hazards are kind of in play. And I should be able to therefore judge the difficulty quite nicely. So you don't need to worry about it being a 65 overall guy. Good morning as well. Now, can I change the enable custom font? Maybe? No, not that. Text stroke. Oh, text stroke white. Does that work? Who knows? Let's see how any of these work. I maintain that I think you've missed a trick by not going with cameras as well. They're not something you must use, but I feel like everyone else is going to, so why would you give up that ground? Okay, so we want to play out to the left here, I guess, to go here. Would I ever cut across here? Probably not. I mean, people might, but I don't think I need to. Not exactly giving me a huge advantage. It does take those bunkers out of play, though. I'll play it properly. And hey, G-Dog. Well, I can't sort out my font yet, it seems. Oh well, I'll figure it out later. For the moment, for the purposes of this, we will just go to, let's just go to white. White chat or dark? Yeah, white's probably better. We'll just go to that. I can figure out my settings later. At least now I know it works and what I need to do. I like the big contours in this green. There's some interesting stuff, particularly if that rolls you into that bunker. That's fun. I might have been tempted to just smooth out this side so it's not just a ridge and like more a gentle plateau back down there. So it feels like you got a lot of, yeah, no, it's a white box, but at least we'll show your text so people can read it. So yeah, no, I know it is. Don't worry. And then you got a false front here. It feels like we've got some features, but you could push them all a little bit further. Yeah, it would be a tough shot from the right. I think to these ones, you might play that way. I don't know. Oh, that might need to go. Oh, should run through the false front. Yeah, that's a fun shot. Game plays so much better when the ball is rolling. Come on, turn in. Ah. I'm interested to see when you've brought the bluffs in on this one. So when we get to those. This is so close. I, but I feel like this is one where we have to be seeing this now. Of like you're playtesting this and that grass is right in the sightline because that's what the hole could look like. And all I see is this. And like, I can't take my eyes off the grass. And I actually think you've done a really good job with this one. It looks great. I like the bunker path through it. I do think if you were doing bunker paths, maybe this texture doesn't work the best because it's got these kind of lines through it. I do like the surface weathering and what you've done and the terrain painting and what you've done with that. I think the blend is cool. Just a few simple tweaks that you could make with sightlines. I'm less convinced on the green sculpting. It's kind of, we've had quite a few that are falling away from front bunkers, particularly on par threes. And that's now both of them. They're not short. Right. Because it just means that this is very, not penal, but there's only really one place you can be to have a decent putt at it, and you've got to end up there, which just feels, yeah, it's a bit tight. I think for the shot value you want this to be. Not hold a did not hold a ridiculous putt at least on this one. Shame. Yeah, it was set up really nicely. Cool little view looking back. Like the cinematic cameras we get are nice. Okay. So completely blind. Although to a very open fairway with a big hogs back, like really wide fairway, I would say. I'm not sure of the combination of blind plus really wide plus hogs back. I mean, it's fine. I just don't. Yeah. I think scale for me, scaling is an issue on the course generally. I would say. Oh, okay, and we can probably reach. Oh, well, we might reach, but we might be in a bunker. That's going. That's not too bad. We can do something from there. Yeah, another one where we got a pin where it's just kind of breaking away in multiple directions for not much reason. I would be flattening that area. When you do tend to pin your greens, I try to have a flatter portion and make sure that the slope around, like if it's meant to be a tier, which way do you really want the slopes going, that sort of thing. Did we play a spinner? I don't think it's going to spin that much, so why not? Oh, that's just beautifully played. And it's a great look when you get the densely planted grass behind it. Like, it looks. There's parts of this environment I really like. This is a bit of an odd one. Like, why would I not always just? I don't think you need to choke here because I'm always playing 3 wood at least over it, and everyone's hitting over that. I don't think anyone's laying up to here, and if they are, you're forcing them wider. This one's a little bit. This is the first like big miss, I think, for me. I like that we're playing over the trees. That's cool. Just the distance and where you're shrinking the fairway is odd. I like the green though. Green is doing some cool stuff. Like big bold front feature. Probably wouldn't run that into rough. Like, could you run light rough down to the bunker or fairway down to that? Maybe. This is interesting. It's doing some cool stuff. This front section. Again, I think the green just needs some flattening and smoothing out. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, but it's kind of a first iteration of an idea, I would say. I'm just seen Andre's hopping on, so what I might do is if he starts streaming, we could always raid him. Oh, go in. Need to spin back. Lovely shot. But a good appropriate green for a wedge shot, like quite big, but with some really bold slopes. Like, that was fun. Haven't yet hit the bluffs, though. Going back inland, we've got 2 bunkers, but playing away from them is the best line. Oh, and we're going to go in them. Well, sea hazard. I wonder if I can reach 135. Maybe? Oh, we can. I like that this one's a bit more raised up and has some heavy rough around it. That's different. Green shape is interesting. I think the tee shot probably, no, despite me missing in the worst place imaginable, I think the tee shot needed the better side defended a little more. But other than that, the approach shot was good on this one. Not too bad. Oh, needs to turn in. Oh, just got through. So this is not one that's in groups. This is one of the alternates. So we've got 2 that are published so far as alternates. Nobody from actual groups at this stage. I think my main comment at this point would now be I'm feeling a little bit of fatigue of the inland holes. It's quite hard to differentiate them because you don't have a ton of trees or big dunes. It's all quite relatively quiet land movement. It's cool, but we probably need something a bit different at this point. So hopefully we're hitting the bluffs soon. So par 5, that could be very good. It needs to go a little bit more. So yeah, in terms of the alternates, basically they have a couple months more. Oh, I forgot it's not an angled swing. They have a couple months more to publish a course, and anyone who does and declares, I'll have a look at them, and the top 4 of those courses at least that I think are really good will get in. We're heading down to the coast now. We're doing it via an out of bounds dogleg, which is an interesting choice. Okay. Feel like you could have done a boundary hole pretty much anywhere. I like that we see the coast. I'd kind of just rather be hitting towards it now, but that's okay. Oh, we're playing 3-wood rather than driver. Okay, so you're tempting people to do this. That feels kind of insane, so we're not doing that. Don't trust my guy on legend trying to hit over trees and shape shots and things. Yeah, exactly. We've got a lot of good designers who could be involved. Okay, I love this as an idea of just like opening up around the corner and then you see all the coast. I think what you've done is you've then made it tee shot where you put in a lot of fear and then defended the green like crazy when actually all you need is a open front, not much in the way of bunkers, like bounce the ball on. And instead we've got this big back tier and a big runoff here. We do have a feeder slope which I like to this pin, but it's now still aerial approach rather than just like let us bounce a ball on this long of an approach. Particularly given that I kind of felt like I had to lay out without bounds down the side. That said, that could get lucky. I do like how that slope works towards this pin. It gives you a bit more of a margin for error. And those bunkers do look like they look really good. Yeah, and the topsoil on this one looks great as well. Like visually, I think very appealing. I would be dropping the land in front of this one, and you would be able to see this a little bit more. just little things like be really critical when you play test, and I think you'll see all of this stuff. Oh, 4 under is not too bad, and that's a it's potentially really fun approach shot there. I like the bunkers are now more windswept rather than the traditional style. That makes sense. Those look really good from a distance, even that you've done nothing to them other than do some really clever terrain painting. Those look great. I might just vary where they've been windswept so they don't look like 3 perfect bunkers, but those look very cool. And the terrain painting down the right looks good as well. It's saved you a bunch of meter too. I think this is my favourite hole visually on the course by a mile. And dangerous too. Yeah, this looks really good. It plays well as well. Shoved it a little bit. Sit down. That's okay. There is a fence. We need fences. Hey, Eric. But yes, for future reference, I can see you've done it here. We don't need fences everywhere on cliffs. You don't tend to always get them. Blind fence indeed, yeah. 2K23's biggest feature. Okay, we are now right up against the bluffs, so and like really cool feature. You've got the scale of them really nicely. The only thing I'd say is I don't feel like I have any incentive to play anywhere near them, unfortunately. And like even if I did, I'd actually probably draw a lie on some of that stuff. I'm going to play a 3 wood out here. Oh, and push it, and yeah, I don't think the green really. It's angled very well. It's 90 degrees to the line of play. Yeah, we don't. We definitely don't need the fence all the way around it. Although at least you've lowered it, so it's not as obtrusive. Yeah, I think this hole is just a little bit of a missed opportunity. Oop. Still, we got a putt. That said, we talked about how we needed a different change to the inland holes. I think you've done that really nicely. It's definitely accelerated when you hit the bluffs, and I like that you saved them clearly for the back 9. That looks cool. Little bridge over. It maybe feels a touch odd to be playing up to this one. Like, this is higher point. Maybe just how it worked out. Yeah, it's a really good hole. The planting around it is really nice as well. Also, I think if it were lower, you'd get more of this view and you'd see the great work that you've done. Whereas looking up at it, you just don't quite see that stuff. It's still a really good par 3. And as a short par 3, we've got some stuff to contend with on the green. Hoping that makes it. It does. And sit now. I will take that. Ooh. Yeah, the start of that was horrible to judge. Good hole. But -4 on like legend difficulty is pretty good for me. Okay, so now we head back inside. Yeah, now that we're back to these bunkers, I really miss the other ones. I think the other ones did look better. I think when you're way inland, these ones did make sense. I definitely am not feeling the ones with the indentations and fingers. I think the pan ones, you had these and sat them way down so that the sand wouldn't be blowing up. I guess that would work nicely. As a whole, could play up to here. I don't feel like I'm getting any real benefit. I don't think the green would, like, given that all of your land is going this way, it doesn't make much sense to me that the green is then falling this way. I get that it defends things better, but it just kind of throws you off and feels a little more awkward. I'm going to play 2-iron. Oh, not there, I'm not. Let's go and see that terrain painting up close. Oh, we're on rock. Oh, we're on rock. It is a bit jarring. It's really difficult to do that cleanly. You have to do a lot of blending. I mean, we got an angle. Yeah, it's super difficult. I think it also speaks to how well you did the terrain painted bunkers as well, because those looked so good that anything not quite meeting that level is always going to stand out. I like that you've taken us away from the cliffs for a little. Then I guess we're going back out. Yeah. Another long par 3. Again, I would like just a little bit. Like, imagine this is downwind and you've got a front pin. You've got next to no chance of like landing it on. Same thing with your transition into your terrain painting as well. I would say it's just as ever with these playthroughs. There's a lot of the like, just spotting different instances of the same sort of thing. Right, 2-iron dinger. Doubt I can hit this, but we'll give it a go. Needs a good bounce. Oh, got away with it. Okay, this could be fun. Gameplay's by far the best when you stop using like super flop and all of the other shots. And roll it. Oh, thought I had it. Pitch and chip just works so well in this game. It's such a shame that you don't really see them as much. Okay, final hole. What have we got for our 18th? So right along the bluffs. I love it, G-Dog. Okay, so we've gone for central bunker that we can't see, which on the cliffs, I think just like you're right up at this cliff edge. We don't need to do anything complex here. Just like show me a fairway set against them, have us hit straight along it. It's just keep it simple. Because this is doing too much. And you could have saved these ideas for elsewhere. Uh-oh. Might be in trouble. I know, we're all right. I appreciate that I have more space out there than I thought I did. Okay, second shot in. And the green is angled in such a way that I want to play out this way. Maybe layup is a touch distant. Might have tried to. Like, one thing you could look at doing is running fairway to here, then having a small string of bunkers, and so like you choose diagonally where you're splitting the fairway. Interesting closer though. Definitely one that you've saved a good bit of land for it. Oh, I'm not sure if the blurb will come through. I'm sorry. I'm back at our little clubhouse. Oh, oh, go on. Oh, it tried. So what have we got down there? Separate, maybe, yeah, separate course. Yeah, cool clubhouse. Agreed. There we go. That is Mohegan Bluffs. 4 under, which I will take on the legend swing. Like, a lot of fun. Okay, just like general thoughts, I think there's lots of stuff I really enjoyed with that. I think the quieter moments were nicely done. Yeah, everyone's doing framing courses. I thought the general atmosphere of the course was nice. I thought terrain painting was done really nicely. As you can see in that picture, things I'll be checking, like just check your sight lines for what players are actually seeing. I would look at your green sculpting. I think a lot of them had the first pass of the idea, but could use another go just to refine what you had. I'd have with this one, I'd have brought us to the cliffs a bit closer, and then when you have the cliffs, you don't need to do anything really creative with them. Just like because you've done them so well, just show them off. Because that par three was a real stunner because that really did just highlight the cliffs. So try and use that. And yeah, just like that's really about it. I think if you'd done a few of those, I think it's a really like that would have lifted it a bit for me. The strength I'd say was with the terrain painting and what you've done with some like it's a unique look and you've done it really quickly compared to how we were able to do that in previous games, which is awesome. But yeah, a lot of fun and a really good course. So please do give it a go. Right, we're going to be back in just a second with another one. I'm going to spend a